Hello and welcome to Dateline Lagos on Channels Television. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Coming up on the program, Governor Sanwo-Olu unveils electricity policy, calls for PPP collaboration for inclusive development, commissions new classroom block and 182-bed dormitory in Igbokuta Model College, inspects Immortal Rice Mill, and an update on the Lagos-Badagry Expressway project. We kick off the program from the power sector. An electricity sustainability framework that will provide reliable power to residential and industrial areas in Lagos State has been unveiled by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Let's take a look.
Electricity in Nigeria is generated through thermal and hydropower sources. The main source of electricity generation comes from fossil fuels, especially gas, which accounts for 86% of the capacity in Nigeria. The country's electricity generation is still inadequate to meet the demands of households and businesses. But the commercial nerve center of the country is making efforts to change that narrative. And so the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has taken a bold step to unveil a new power policy that will help boost capacity in the off-grid generation and distribution network to meet the needs of the people. The State Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources says the electricity policy will provide the establishment of an autonomous regulatory body and independent system operator.
We have looked at the energy supplies in Lagos. We have looked at the ability to generate energy in Lagos. We've looked at the demand for energy supply in Lagos, and we've come up with a policy that is going to define and describe the short-term, the mid-term, and the long-term requirements that will lead to universal energy supply in Lagos.
After that, a panel discussion prefers solutions on alternative power supply.
When you consider that Lagos is also like the industrial base of the nation, right? We need to see that replicated. We want to see more gas infrastructure that now goes to feed into residential estates, for instance, enabling the auto gas sector. And I think Lagos is already doing some work in this regard, but it's now a matter of scale, given the population dynamics and the move from mega city to smart city.
What we require as investors are as follows. One, we want to have a perfect understanding of what government policy means. We want to be part of that plan. We want to be able to sign performance agreement on those plans we've agreed and accepted, and we want to ensure that the risk matrix, in terms of the risk regarding each of the components required for people to have electricity, is situated and addressed properly. We want a situation where government of Lagos will back us up because we have something called energy theft. 40% of our electricity consumed by individuals within the state are stolen. Unfortunately, our value system is not strong enough to police and punish energy thieves. We want a strengthened relationship with Lagos State in that regard.
Let us have alternative sources of power, clean energy outside the grid. What we're preaching is solar panels. We're also advocating for cleaner and renewable energy.
Then Governor Sanwo-Olu responds to their comments.
We should hold ourselves accountable. Every year, we should all come and answer the question, how is the policy working? What are the bottlenecks that are? How is Chima saying that he doesn't want to do risk metrics? How is Andrea ensuring that our gas pipeline, she's ensuring? How will Dolabo know that indeed there's air quality and she has a measure of measurements? You know, so it's only when we hold ourselves accountable and we make this thing not a 1 in 5 years thing, but so that we don't get the failure at the end of 5 years. Every 1 year, let everybody come and do their scorecard.
He also says that strong partnership with the private sector is the only way to improve electricity supply, and the state government is ready to take that step for residents.
You know, we've procured over 20,000 meters, and we're both developing power rangers that will go to those residents and be able to work with their own staff, right, and be able to have meters installed in in those residents. And over a longer period of time, we can recoup the cost of the meter. But what it does is that there'll be power in those places. And people have said to us, once they see power, they will pay. And once they have been properly metered, they know what their consumptions will be, and they will pay. So we're working with them, and we're ensuring that, indeed, we can go from one community to another community and begin to increase capacity and begin to see that growth will happen. For each and every one of us that are here this afternoon, if anything, let us be able to know that one person cannot do it all. We need each other's strengths, we need each other's idea, we need each other's knowledge to be able to form real partnership. And in forming those partnerships is to be able to coordinate those partnerships and be able to collaborate. You can go first, and where I'm coming right behind you. And if you need to switch roles, let's understand that we are all in the game together.
And then the electricity policy is unveiled. The electricity policy unveiled has the objective to build a local electricity market, create a viable subnational power system that would cater for the energy needs of residents of Lagos State and the nation.
We now move from electricity to Public-Private Partnership, PPP Network Conference, where Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu calls for private sector collaboration to attain inclusive development for the people.
The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu makes his way into the 2021 Nigeria Public-Private Partnership Network Forum. The event, organized by the State Public-Private Partnership Office, is the third in its series and is centered around the role of public-private partnership in the 2021-2025 National Development Plan. Governor Sanwo-Olu calls on the private sector to collaborate with government in ensuring the attainment of inclusive development for Nigerians.
How can we use cases where hitherto had been exclusive for government, for the public sector, drivers, to be able to allocate and have partnership and have a handshake with the private sector? Areas where government hitherto have developed competencies and is being government-led. How can we get private investors? How can we get private equity, into some of those spaces? And I think that's pretty much what all of the engagements, it's all about.
He also believes that Lagos has witnessed significant and extensive mileage in PPP investment to address several developmental challenges confronting the state, and he is willing to do more for the people.
You read on the news today now, main one, Equinox is taking them over for $320 million. That's a lot of money. And so we need to be happy as a country that we can see foreign direct investment coming in here. Yes, a few of the shareholders are going to be happier, in their bank account to go up. But hey, what it means is that internationally, Equinox is the biggest data center in the world. It means that for them to make that decision, they've seen not only the opportunity, they've seen not the legality and the legitimacy of what we're talking about. And so everybody is rushing to Nigeria now. I'm aware about 3-4 others that are landing submarine cables, that are trying to do data center, that are trying to do incredible things in technology. And that's how it's supposed to be. And so when they come in here, it's not only in Lagos. The business is not only here, but they want to land somewhere and be able to push, all of those things everywhere.
The National Development Plan projects an ambitious investment size of 348.7 trillion naira over a 5-year period, out of which the private sector is expected to contribute 85.7%, while the federal government, state government and local government should contribute 14.3% cumulatively.
Dear Lagosians, the second wave of the deadly coronavirus pandemic is here. Its new strain is easily transmitted and deadlier, Coronavirus symptoms are fever, dry cough, tiredness, difficulty in breathing. We can all prevent the spread of this virus through appropriate and regular use of face masks, avoiding close contact with people who are at high risk, washing our hands regularly with soap and running water, especially after visiting the toilet, before eating, and after coughing or sneezing, using alcohol-based hand sanitizer, maintaining at least 1.5 meters or 5 feet distance from anyone coughing or sneezing, covering our mouths with tissue while coughing or sneezing, and brushing the tissue. If you feel unwell and show symptoms of coronavirus, or you notice anyone who does, please call the Lagos State Emergency Hotlines 08000 ECOMED or 0803 3356 5529. Many are dead. Don't fall victim or die in ignorance. Report now. Together, we will overcome this challenge. Igbega Ipinle Eko, Ajumoshini, Lagos State Government. Announcer.
Next is the education sector. At this time, Governor Sanwo-Olu was in Igbokuta Model College to commission new classroom blocks as well as a 182-bed dormitory. And he appealed to students to shun all forms of peer pressure and bullying that will make their mates uncomfortable. After counseling the students, the governor then made a stop at the Immortal Rice Mill to see the level of work achieved.
Students of Lagos State Model College Igbokuta area of Ikorodu gather to welcome Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu into their school. The governor and his cabinet members are here to commission the newly constructed 12 classroom block and hostel block for students of Igbokuta Model College. He makes his way to the new hostel dedicated to junior girls and asks them to make good use of it.
And I'm hoping that this hostel that we've done today, you will keep it well. Junior girls, you will keep your hostel dormitory, you will keep it well, you will keep it safe, you will keep it clean, so that we can come back and come and build another one for the boys as well. Okay? I understand that you got 100% in Becker, and you got about 95-96% in WAEC. Please give yourself a big round of applause. Give yourself a big round of applause. Right. That is the kind of standard that I want to hear and I want to see in all of our public secondary schools. I'm indeed very happy, with your conduct and with the fact that you received me well today. This facility is just several that we're doing all around the state. You will come and look for and will start your own next year. Junior secondary school girls are commissioning and will hand over this building.
After the commissioning, the governor inspects the hostel. Then he moves to the next infrastructure project, which is the classroom block that has just been added to the existing ones. And the teachers, students, invited guests are all seated to witness the occasion. The students welcome him with a cultural dance. Then the Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo, speaks on how the administration has fulfilled all the promises made in reshaping the education sector.
Our governor made promises to the state and to the education sector in particular. The state would deliberately focus on education as a major pillar in the theme's agenda, ensure yearly increase in budgetary allocation, complete all outstanding projects to the highest possible standards, invest in new schools, rehabilitate and upgrade existing schools, and also integrate technology into teaching and learning. Ultimately, the governor has covered the whole value chain of education, and all these promises have been met.
The governor assures the teachers and students that the state government will continue to reboost investment in the sector and frowns at any action taken up by pupils that will become overbearing on their mates.
We believe that our students, they need the right enabling environment, they need the right skills, and they need the right knowledge to be able to compete globally. Our ranking of you is not just local, it's not just in Lagos, it's a global ranking that I want to give you. And that's why this government, year on year, has continued to increase our allocation to education. This current year, we have targeted a total of 139 billion, which is the second largest after infrastructure for 2021. However, in 2022, that figure has even gone up by over 22%, and we're estimating to spend about 171 billion next year for education alone. As I want to encourage you today, I also want to admonish you. And I want to say, as a father, as your governor, I do not want to have students that will be condoling bullying or cultism in your schools. You have to renounce and deny and stay away from this kind of acts. If you see something, say something. And I want to encourage the teachers as well. Please, listen to the little stuff that your pupils are telling you, so that they can tell you the big ones when it affects them. Listen to the little stories. Listen to their yearning. If they raise up their hand that they want to see you, please spare that 1 minute for them and let them tell you what is in their heart. It's only when you encourage them that they will tell you the ones that is disturbing them.
The Igbokta Lagos State Model College now boasts of an ultra-modern 12-classroom block, 182-bed dormitory, laundromats and reading rooms, all for effective teaching and learning that will make the students excel in their studies. From here, Governor Sanwo-Olu and his team moved to Imota Rice Mill, still within the Ikorodu axis. He inspects a 32 metric tons per hour rice mill with 18 silos boasting of a capacity of 2,500 tons each, constructed by the state government. The rice mill has been built with a capacity to produce 2.8 million bags of 50 kg bags of rice annually and generate about 2,000 direct and indirect jobs. The governor says the project has been disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic, but promises to deliver the mill before the end of the first quarter of 2022.
We're going to push and charge every of our contractors that are on site to ensure that before the end of first quarter next year, we should have started pre-operation, meaning that we should start producing rice from here. You know, it's not going to be a function of how quickly we can wrap up, the storage facility, which has the capacity to take production of up to 3 to 6 months. You can see the 16 silos, which has a combined capacity of 40 metric tons, 40,000 metric tons. Each one of them is 2,500 metric tons, 40,000 metric tons. And you've seen the two lines. The first line, I'm told, is about 85% completed. The second is about 65, 70%. Right? In another month or so, they should be at about 98, 99%, completion. So we're hoping, they will need a lot of cleaning up, a lot of testing of machines, and all of that. So I'm going to be generous with them and expect that before the end of the first quarter of 2022, we should have started, pre-operation, and we'll begin to see rice come out, of this line. And so it will be a function of how much order they can now take, how much paddy they now have, and what will be the operational modus, of this place going forward, for us to begin to see the rice from Imota in all of our kitchen and in our markets in Lagos.
When fully operational, it's expected to increase rice production and also reduce the price in the markets.
Finally on the show, we revisit the Lagos-Badagry Expressway project to see how much progress has been made in delivering the infrastructure for the people. Take a look.
The Lagos-Badagry Expressway is one of the major infrastructure projects of the Lagos State government. This is one project that has been ongoing for over 10 years, and the state government is working very hard to deliver its own part on the road. The project in 3 phases also has 3 components of bridges, and the state government says it is committed to rehabilitate the Maza-Maza to Okokomaiko, which is a length of 14.8 kilometers.
You recollect that when you had an interview with me just about a month and a half ago, I did promise you that the next milestone stage casting on the Lagos-Badagry Expressway would take place in another 5 weeks' time. It's actually 6 weeks because we had 1 or 2 interface issues with the federal, so that they got delayed by 1 week. So that marks the construction of the gather beam. Lagos-Badagry Expressway, when it was awarded, has from a distance of 14.8 kilometers, but it has 3 components of bridges. 3 components, and one of them is this Akinwande Bridge. On the Lagos-Badagry Expressway from Orile, as you go in towards Alaba, you see this flyover that leads to Akinwande, and it actually crosses Apapa-Oshodi Expressway, so that you can cross into Rainbow on the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway side. There are 3, Badagry Expressway has 3 segments: 1, lot 1, segment 2, and the lot 2, segment 1, 2, 3. So the segment 1 of lot 1 was completed years ago, like 8 years ago by Julius Berger. That's over. That's from Erikmo to Festac. The next one is by CCC in 3 phases. The phase 1 gets up to Abudu Amuwo, and then the phase 2 gets to the Trade Fair Complex. The phase 3 is what you see that leads you to Okokomaiko by the train depot station. If you also will recollect, I did tell you, I said as a government, what we promise you is what we will exactly do. I've said it again and again. People have always wondered. It appears that why are we not delivering on Lagos-Badagry Expressway? They oftentimes mix up Lagos-Badagry Expressway in its scope of work. The concession that we have from the federal government is from Erikmo to Okokomaiko. And that's exactly what we promise you that we will deliver. In the lifetime of this administration, in fact, before the end of first quarter next year, we will finish this Lagos-Badagry, the scope that they have given us concession on. And you can see that we're working assiduously at keeping to that promise.
The West African route is receiving so much attention, with construction workers on ground trying to meet the deadline. A team from the State Ministry of Works and Infrastructure is also here to inspect the level of work. The box girder is one of the components of the bridge and is under construction.
We are doing a massive concreting works on the Alaba interchange. Earlier, the deck has been done. Where we find ourselves at Akiwande, there is a bus gather to be done there, and already we have deployed about 300 tons of reinforcement and about 600 cubic volume of concrete is going to be cast. From the Badagry Express, you can see that the bridge is running from the Badagry Express. It will eventually terminate at Second Rainbow. That means it's going to fly over the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway. We are almost halfway into it. I would say for this segment, I would say 50% into it. So it will eventually go over the existing Apapa-Oshodi Expressway.
Alaba interchange is 3 times the kind of structure you are, seeing here. That one will attract over about 2,500 cubic meters of concrete, and at the same time over 550, tons of reinforcement. So that one, the reinforcement is ongoing, but we are likely to, cast that one by the grace of God in January. Yanoba interchange. That Yanoba interchange is the one that flies to Lasu Iba Road, and then linking Lagos-Badagry Expressway at Lasu Junction area.
Also, the contractor in charge of the project is optimistic that all the flyovers will be completed by next year.
The completion period for this particular bridge is next year, 2022. We are going to make sure we'll complete this bridge before the end of year 2022. For the road aspects from Okoko, we are going to complete all the road aspects down to Okoko before the end of this year, 2021, which we promise, and we are working towards the delivery of that road project according to the promise of the Lagos State Governor.
The Lagos State government warns against indiscriminate use of the road.
There's a lot of collaboration between the federal government side and the Lagos State side. The moment we finish ours, because it's a West African route, so that's why it's a 5-lane, 10-lane expressway. It's a West African route along the corridor. So the federal government is also determined to say, haven't Lagos State put in this amount of effort? They're also encouraged, and I think they have gotten the funding to complete from that side to further down to the end of Badagry side. There's no point wasting resources only for people not to make use of them and begin to abuse that infrastructure from day one. We see a lot of abuse on that corridor. You see, particularly from Alabarago, people actually wash cars on the road, on the pavement. You see mechanics put on tires on the roadway. You see market women actually sell on the walkway. You see street lights, they burn tires very close to street lights. And so these are the things I would cry against. We are government. Government is not just an executive council. Government is every individual who pays his or her tax.
With the commitment of the state government to deliver the Maza-Maza to Okokomaiko section, this will no doubt reduce traffic congestion, enhance socio-economic activities, and serve as a gateway to other West African countries.
And this is where we call it today on this edition of Dateline Lagos. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Until we come your way again next time, please stay safe.